This is Personal Injury Court.
Mr. Nelson, it's my understanding you're suing your ex-wife, Miss Levin, for injuries you sustained while you were on her property. You're asking this court to award you $45,000 for your past medicals, $25,000 for scarring and disfigurement, $90,000 for pain and suffering, for a total award of $160,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Levin, you believe that Mr. Nelson caused his own injuries and you don't owe him a thing, true?
Absolutely. Yes,
Well,
Your
let's
Honor.
get into the legal sauce. How did you end up at your ex-wife's home?
Well, Sarah and I were married 15 years. She used to be the love of my life. The divorce was finalized 4 months ago. In the divorce, she got our house, I got to pay alimony, and she gets half of my 401k. And then, just to be vindictive, I had to go over there and cut down the trees that I planted in our backyard for her for our 10-year anniversary.
As part of your divorce settlement?
As the divorce decree.
Why would you want him to cut trees down at your house?
I've asked him for years to cut these trees down. They block a bunch of the light that comes into my kitchen, other parts of the home. He tries to paint me as some bad person, but all of these things that he's saying that he gave me in the divorce.
Well, we ain't gonna work out y'all's divorce because some other judge decided that one.
I agree.
Yeah.
However, how do you go from cutting trees down to in that bandage?
So, like I said, Your Honor, in the divorce decree, I had 60 days to cut 23 trees down in our former backyard, now her backyard. So,
The answer is he doesn't know what he was doing.
yeah, well, I didn't know what I was doing. No, I'm sorry you didn't marry a tree expert, Sarah. But I go over there, I had a small window of time with a chainsaw. As soon as I get in there, she starts complaining. She gets on me. She's got a problem with this. She's got a problem with that. I actually, at one point, I had to go outside and vent and send a message to my friends. I just had to get out of that house.
Well, you submitted a video to this court.
Yes, I did.
Is this the message that you sent?
That is a message because my friends know very well.
You don't look really
And
happy.
he's
does to me.
emotionally unstable, and
Oh.
he has to get his story out first. That's
How do you
just the
think
way
I got
he's
that
always
way,
been.
Sarah?
Let's see the video.
So I'm over here at Sarah's. Got to cut all these trees down. Chainsaw's out of gas. I'm tired. She's giving me dirty looks. I can't stand this woman.
Ms. Levin, were you interfering with this? Were you distracting him?
Oh. No,
Absolutely
no.
not. He came into the house, and I was surprised that it was him by himself. I didn't see any safety equipment. I didn't see that he had hired anybody.
So, Mr. Nelson, how did this happen?
So I go over there. I get the chainsaw by myself. I didn't, no, I'm not a tree expert, but I had a plan. So in our former backyard, now her backyard, all the trees are in a line. There's this little platform looks like a little deck. I'm on the platform, grab
right.
the chainsaw, yank.
We all know how it sounds.
Chainsaw's going,
Thank you.
chainsaw's going. Oh, you know how it sounds. I thought
Yeah.
you were busy. So I walk over there. I take 2 steps. There's a loose board. It's not even nailed down. I trip over the board. I fly through the railing, land 8 feet on the ground, hurt my elbow, broke my elbow, cracked 2 ribs. I can barely breathe. Chainsaw goes flying through the air. It was like a freaking horror movie. Chops out 3 of my fingers. Yes, and you know what she was doing the whole time? You know what she was doing? She was sitting at the kitchen table, having a couple of beers, talking on the phone while I'm out there nearly chopping my entire hand off. And guess who had to call 911 and
So
pick
you
up his own
lopped off-
fingers? Me!
Sounds difficult.
So you lopped off 3 of your fingers?
Yes.
If you know more about the hazard as the landowner and you don't address it, he wins. If you know as much about the hazard as Ms. Levin knows, you lose. Here I find you live there. You know this platform. You knew the hazard and could have protected yourself. You are 50% responsible at least, and despite your terrible injuries. I must find against you and in your ex-wife's favor. I find for the defendant. That is my verdict, and this matter is adjourned. Ms. Brown, it's my understanding that you're suing Mr. Botsford for injuries you received while on a date and in his car. You're asking this court to award you $35,000 for your past medical expenses, $8,000 for your future medical expenses, $25,000 for scarring and disfigurement, and $50,000 for pain and suffering, for a total award of $118,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
And Mr.
Crazy.
Botsford,
That's crazy.
you not only don't think this is your fault, you think it's her fault, and you're actually suing her, countersuing her for your damage to your car. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, let's get into the legal sauce. Now, how did you all end up on a date?
Well, Your Honor, we met online. It was a dating website, and both of my best friends married their husbands off a dating website, so I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. You know, I mean, he's good looking, and he said that, you know, he loved his hot rod. Come to find out it was actually a car and not something else. I would
Different
like
strokes
to
for
be
different folks?
I would like to be treated with respect and dignity.
That will happen in this courtroom.
Thank you, Your Honor. But unfortunately, that's not how he rolls. He actually lives with his mother because that's the only way he could afford to build his car.
Now, was this a first date or had y'all dated before?
We've been dating about a month. We had gone on a few dates.
She
This is
wishes it was
nothing
more.
serious.
You wish it was more?
Oh, clearly not.
Mr. Botsford, I got to nip this in the bud early. We're going to have respect in this courtroom.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Since you're into hot rods and you live with your mama,
So yes, I live with a mother, undue to certain events that have happened that have really nothing to do with what's going on here that she keeps bringing up. So I mean, but yeah, I love cars. I mean, from the motors to the body work to the
tell me
paint.
about your car.
So yeah, I mean, out of high school, I decided that things didn't really go my way, which.
That's your car right there?
Oh yeah,
That
that's what
was
I've.
his
I
car.
mean, it's a little bit more than most people think. I mean, I've had the car since right out of high school, basically. I actually bought it from one of my exes, and to make a long story short, I've just everything knowledge, my body shop skills, my mechanic skills. Like I love cars. Like I've just put everything.
So
into
you put that car together?
Yeah, just pretty much by myself with a little bit of help of friends and family. But yeah,
And the
it's
help of his mom, don't forget.
And that
Here
was the
again,
car that was involved in this incident?
Yes.
Okay. Well, tell me what happened, Miss Brown.
We're on a date. And we went to this lover's lane sort of place. It's a rock quarry, and we parked out on the edge, or so I thought we parked on the edge. But it turns out he was too irresponsible to put the e-brake on, to put his foot on the brake, to turn the car off, so he went over the edge. Like we went upside down. The car turned over. I was crushed between him and
You
the car.
submitted this photograph over that edge?
Yes, Your Honor.
How did you go over the edge?
It is a stick shift, of course, and I just pull up to the edge thinking, okay, well maybe I'm a little bit too close. So then, in the course of backing up and trying into gear, as a spider monkey wanted to do, just jump all
Spider
over.
monkey.
Yeah, that's basically what you acted like.
You were there for a night of kissing and love. And that's how it should have turned out, but it didn't. Instead, you suffered terrible facial injuries, punctured your breast implant, broke some ribs, and broke your spirit. Mr. Botsford, you've told me about your car and how much it meant to you. You put a lot into this car. I know it must have broke your heart to see it in the car graveyard.
It crushed it.
I understand that you believe that Miss Brown, had she waited, then this would have never happened. You could have put the brake on and everything would have gone as planned, and y'all would have never met me today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, this case presents a legal concept of a dangerous instrumentality. And I'm talking about your car. Cars are very dangerous. Under the law, they are a dangerous instrumentality. Since you, as the holder of the dangerous instrumentality, have the car in your control, the law imposes upon you a duty to take certain safety precautions. The evidence in this case shows me that you could have put the brake on. You could have made sure you're a big, strong guy, big enough to push her back and say, hold on, let me put the brake on.
I mean, we were in the moment.
Well, the moment is the moment, but safety does not go on vacation, not even when it's a night of love. Because you had full control of the dangerous instrumentality, the law places the burden on your shoulders to take the safety precautions. The evidence shows that you did not, and I must find in Miss Brown's favor. Ms. Morris, based on the documents you filed with this court, it's my understanding you are suing Mr. Papadopoulos for injuries that you received while you were at his restaurant during a wedding. You're asking this court to award you $25,000 for your past medical expenses, $15,000 for your future medical expenses, $100,000 for pain and suffering, for a total award of $140,000, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Papadopoulos, you believe that Ms. Morris knew what she was getting into. Any injuries she has, they're because she assumed the risk of those based on what was happening. So this is not your fault, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, let's get into the legal sauce. What led you to this wedding?
Your Honor, I'm a real estate agent, and my face is my calling card. I was at a wedding reception at Apollo's, and what was supposed to be a joyous and happy occasion turned into tragedy, and I ended up in the emergency room.
Tell me about your restaurant, Mr. Papadopoulos.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm the owner and operator of an authentic Greek restaurant, Apollo's Taverna. Outside of Greece, we have the best spanakopita and moussaka in the world.
Now, do you host a lot of wedding receptions?
Yes, we do, Your Honor. Indeed. I am a second-generation Greek. My family is from the island of Crete. My parents, God rest their souls, opened up the restaurant Apollo's Taverna.
So, Ms. Morris, tell me about this wedding and how your eye was injured.
Your Honor, one of my clients invited me to his wedding. The wedding was held at a really nice Greek Orthodox church. It was beautiful. But afterwards, the reception was held at Apollo's Taverna. And I can't complain. The food was amazing.
Thank you.
The place was beautiful. I brought a date with me, and we were having a great time. But as the night progressed, everybody started drinking. There was a lot of wine. It got very rowdy.
Weddings can be that way.
Yeah. And they started to do the traditional Greek smashing of the plates in the middle of the floor and everything. Your Honor, I had never been to a Greek wedding before. So this was the first for me. So I got up from where I was sitting and I went to take a picture. I was curious. I've never been to this. So when I got closer, all of a sudden, I felt this loud crash on the right side of my face, and a piece of the plate just burst into my eyeball.
When this is done right, what kind of plate are you supposed to use?
Your Honor, we use plaster plates.
Okay.
In fact, I have a photo.
Sheriff, will you get this photograph?
This is a photograph of a carton of plaster plates that we buy from my restaurant supplier.
Okay. Ms. Morris, did you see who threw the plate?
His waiters were all drunk that night. They were drinking and taking
My waiters
shots.
don't drink on the job, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
Semita.
the plate that hit my eye was a piece of a ceramic plate. I have proof of it. That was actually provided to me from one of my customers, a client that I attended the wedding to, and he provided that picture for me. He was drunk. Multiple people saw him. And as you can see, he's holding a ceramic plate because it shines in the light. It's a ceramic plate. It's not plaster.
Mr. Papadopoulos, is that gentleman in the back with a ceramic plate one of your employees? Family traditions, societal traditions, they are very important because they mark big events in our lives. But whether you're jumping the broom or shooting a shotgun off in the 4th of July or carrying someone on your shoulders at a wedding reception, those are all potentially dangerous activities, and the law says regardless of the occasion, you must be safe. And if you're going to engage in dangerous activities, you must protect the people around you. Here, this is a dangerous activity, throwing plaster or ceramic. And I saw no evidence that you, Mr. Papadopoulos, put safety measures in, either making sure your employees were not throwing plates or making sure that customers were out of the zone of danger. When you don't protect your customers, you are responsible under the law. And therefore, I find in your favor, Ms. Morris, I'm going to award you $25,000 for your past medical expenses, $15,000 for your future medical expenses, and every penny of your pain and suffering of $100,000 for a total award of $140,000 against the defendant. That is my final award, and this matter is adjourned.